A country wild and unknown, right in the heart of Europe, with cascading waterfalls, untouched riverscapes, and rugged mountainsides. Rare and endangered animals roam the valleys and mountains of the Perútsitsa primeval forest. The untouched nature offers a pristine habitat and is testament to an impressive ecological diversity. Bosnia and Herzegovina, barren beauty in the karstic south and untouched nature in the densely wooded north. Who will win the waterfall diving championship in Jatse? Which sheepdog comes from Mount Vlasic? And which mushroom species are saving the glacial lakes in the Sūtiesκα National Park from disappearing? The forests in the north of Bosnia and Herzegovina are endless. Almost 60% of the country is wooded. The nature here is pristine as the mountainous regions are remote and hard to access. The wild, clear lakes are a habitat for a range of plants and animals that have become extinct elsewhere. The brown bears symbolize and are proof of healthy forests. There are around 1,000 of these majestic creatures in the region. Undisturbed by people, the animals can forage and be in peace. They do have some neighbors. The forests of Bosnia and Herzegovina have a large wolf population. Each pack has 4 to 6 animals and a territory that spans 250 square kilometers. Wolves from outside the pack are not tolerated and either chased away or even killed. When night falls, the keen hunters start looking for their prey. Alim Salkic starts his day at sunrise. He's on his way to the mountain huts on Mount Vlasic. The mountain takes its name from the half-nomadic cattle herders that used to live here, the Valachs. The mountain pastures are still used for grazing. The vet visits the shepherds several times a month. Only a few types of sheep breeds can thrive in this tough climate. The Dubska Pramenka sheep comes from the region. It's very robust and has become quite rare. A reason for the state to subsidize farmers who keep them. The best purebred lambs are used purely for breeding. The vet tags and makes a record of them.
Dobro oca zato što tokom cijele godine ostaje van, bez obzira na vremenske uslove, i ona ima tu grubu runu koja stvari ne dozvoljava da se vlaga kupi. I ona je vrlo rijetko boljeva od bolesti respiratornog trakta.
Što je bric onaj viko, runjavi nogu ako su valjaju.
Znači moraju biti dlakave noge, mora biti po glavi. To je karakteristika. Gdje ti je tornjak se? Pas.
Evo ga gore.
Gore. Aj vidit ćemo. Šta njemu trebala vakcina, nešto. Sad ćemo ga i vakcinisati. Hoćeš ga od parazita.
Tornjaks are also an ancient local breed. The species was first mentioned in manuscripts from the 11th century.
Svi psi koji su u funkciji rada, dakle da čuvaju, oni se upravo ovako ponašaju dok se ne naviknu na nas. Dakle, ovo nije agresivnost, ovo je čisto upozoravanje, nemojte mi prilast mom blagu, ja to čuvam. Tako, čuvaj malo.
Tornjaks have a thick weatherproof coat that protects them from the low mountain temperatures and icy winds. The breed was almost extinct. Nowadays, only a few shepherds still keep them. They protect the herd from wolves, bears, and other predators.
Pa bilo je vamo, je vamo, u Gorana onoga tamo je, jel vuk mu poklo šaber. Medvjed. Poklo je tamo. Ja ne mora se on boriti s medvjedom, on mora javiti meni, znači da bi ja ustao, da bi ja pripazio. On je dobar da mi javi.
Tornjaks are peaceful and good-natured towards people. They have a keen instinct to protect their territory from strangers or predators.
Mogu se, recimo, korpulentni primjerci nositi sa vukom, ali neće nikada ide direktno u borbu, nego će uvijek da otjera i vrati se. Nisu baš tako karakterno, recimo, da kažem, ludi pa da će on trčat za vukom. Ne, neće to on raditi. On ga otjera na neku razdaljnu i onda se ponovo vrati kad je u pitanju. Inače, mirni, staloženi, stabilni. Evo vidite, evo, dakle, on nema tu naviku da čini štetu bilo čemu. Jako ispoljava svoju reakciju na sve ono što je strano. I on je u stvari dobar oblajivač. Javlja vlasniku da mora ustati. I vlasnik po njegovom lavežu tačno zna kad mora da ustane. Kad mora da reaguje, kad je nešto, ajmo reći, prisutno, a da nije opasnost, a kad stvarno mora da ustane.
Between spring and autumn, thousands of sheep graze on the soft meadows of Mount Vlažić in search of fresh pasture. The wild side of the mountain, with its dramatic sheer walls, towers over the Lašva Valley. The rivers have carved spectacular gorges into the limestone of the Dinaric Alps. The Vrbas Gorge is one of the most impressive. Streaming rivers dissect the mountainous country. Most of them still wild and pristine, they are an impressive natural spectacle. Entirely unique, the waterfall in Jajce. In the middle of the town, the Pliva River flows into the Vrbas River down a 20-meter drop. This historic town was founded in 1396 by the Grand Duke of Bosnia. At the spot where the Pliva flows into the Vrbas, he erected a fortress and named it Jajce. It became the seat of the Bosnian kings until it was conquered by the Ottomans. In recent history, it regained its standing as the official founding place of the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. Dino Bajric has come from Sarajevo. He's one of the best cliff jumpers in the country. Since 2013, the historic town has hosted a waterfall jumping tournament, an extreme sporting event that has become very popular. The competitors come from Bosnia and Herzegovina and the neighboring countries. The steep drop can be daunting, even for the professionals. Every jump requires courage and strong physical discipline. Dino Bajric is an experienced cliff jumper. He competes in all the important events around the Balkans, jumping from cliffs and bridges. Jumping from a waterfall is an unforgettable experience, even for him.
Sama pojava te ogromne količine vode koja je bukvalno ispod vas je nešto prelijepo. Mislim, svi vi, kao ostali smrtnici što ste rekli, gledate nas od ozdo prema gore, a mi gledamo vas, sami smo gore na platformi i mi imamo taj jedinstven pogled i zbog čega dolazimo iz godine u godinu je u stvari to. Sami smo na rubu platforme i sami skačemo s tog prelijepog vodopada.
Twenty competitors from 3 countries are taking part. Each contestant gets 2 jumps to perform the perfect swallow dive in front of the audience and jury. The swallow is the traditional dive with arms outstretched until hitting the surface. In the tense final, Dino Bajric only narrowly missed out on first place. Dense woodland blankets the north of the country, one of the last primeval forests in Europe, the Perútsitsa. In the midst of the pristine nature, the Skakavac waterfall thunders down 75 meters, making it one of the highest waterfalls in the country. The dense firs, spruces and beech trees can reach up to 50 meters. Many of them have been standing here for centuries. Rare and endangered species have made this remote woodland into their home. It offers protection to an array of plants and animals. Perútsitsa is the perfect habitat for the brown bear. Here, there is abundant food to scavenge and plenty of peace and quiet for the shy animals. This is very important for the brown bear, so they can hibernate undisturbed and rear their cubs. The extensive forest also offers perfect conditions for the lynx to thrive. This skilled hunter was almost extinct in Europe. The Balkan lynx, a subspecies of the Eurasian lynx, is still under threat. It's estimated that there are less than 50 of the animals left, making it one of the rarest big cats on Earth. The dense, mixed forest envelops the mountainous landscape in the north. The mountains were carved into the limestone by the countless rivers flowing from north to south for millions of years. The mountain rivers are a relentless force that man has always harnessed. The many old mills are a testament to this, yet only very few are still in use. "400 years ago, 20 oak mills were built along the Pliva River, a prime example of traditional construction and local carpentry. Deep in the forests of the mining area in central Bosnia, the power of the water was used for metal forging. The small village of Očevija is still renowned for its hammersmithing. Alojz Vijačkić is one of the last local blacksmiths. Ironware has been made here for 4 generations using exactly the same technique.
Mi to moramo zagrijati 3 puta pod ovim čekićom koju voda pogodi čekić od 100 kila. Pa onda moramo grijati 3 puta ručno drvenim čekićom obrađivati. I zato kažem, to je zahtjev, onda kad se to sve završi, moramo ručno infinirati. To je 40 minuta, jednu tepsiju od 40 centi.
Not much has changed in 800 years. The whole forgery runs on water power alone. The hammer, the bellows, and the other tools. The only other force needed is muscle power. The toughest job, forging the red-hot metal, is done by the drop hammer. This is lifted by a water-powered camshaft. The blacksmith can control the speed of the hammer by the amount of water that goes onto the paddle wheel, either speeding up or slowing down the rotating camshaft. Alojz Vijačkić has been doing the job since he was 15.
Ja nigde nisam drugo radio nego ovdje. Od male nogu. I ovo se radi ko školu ne učio. Ko neće u školu.
And he still makes a decent living. The main work used to be horseshoes and agricultural equipment. Today, it is mainly baking pans, frying pans, and knives.
Potražnje ima, ali je došlo vrijeme da nema ko radi. Nas je radilo ovdje prije ovog rata, što je nedavno bio, u ovoj kovačiji 10. Na ovoj riječici je bilo 7 bakih kovačija. Radilo 64 čovjeka. Sad nas radi 5 i malo. Malo, nema ko radi. Nema, Angela nam sve odnese, odluče radnu snagu. Odoše ljudi gdje misle da je bolje.
The Bjelašnica Mountains rise up a few kilometers from the capital Sarajevo. The mountain massif is a holiday resort and was one of the competition venues of the Winter Olympics in 1984. At 1,472 meters, on the southern ridge of the Bielašnica mountain range, perches Lukomir, the highest village in the country. Its residents have lived from agriculture and cattle rearing for the past 500 years. Nowadays, the village is only inhabited from May to November due to the tough, snow-laden winters. Every summer, 17 families return to Lukomir from the neighboring lower villages. Most of the villagers are over 60. The traditional craftsmanship is mainly done for the tourists that come through this far-flung idyll every weekend. But in the mornings, the roads still belong to the animals. 200 sheep per resident. They are the village's most important source of income. The swallows also return to the village in the summer, in their hundreds. Undisturbed, they rear their chicks in the rooftop niches of the abandoned houses. Less than half of the 50 stone houses are still inhabited. Ever since a gravelled road was built to Lukomir a few years ago, more and more tourists are visiting the picturesque village. This has motivated a few locals to move back. Old houses are being repaired, mainly for guests. Last year, Omer Chomor renovated the house where he was born. Now he's working on the garden wall and the barn. Like some of his neighbors, the early retiree is a descendant of the last Bogomil of Bosnia. The Bogomil, meaning dear to God, were an early Christian community that resided in Bosnia and Herzegovina in the Middle Ages. Their tombstones can be found across the country.
Ovo je nadgrobni spomenik Bogumila, što dokazuje ovu prethodnu priču da su ovdje živjeli Bogumili. I na ovom nadgrobnom spomeniku se vidi da su sahranjena dva borca i da su uklesana dva mača. Sa istoka su proganjani sa zapada jer su bježali, bili su prisiljavani da sa istoka prime pravoslavlje ili sa zapada katoličanstvo. Oni su imali svoju vjeru zato što su bili autohtoni narod ovdje i oni su bježali, znači taj posljednji Bogumil je ovdje zatečen i ovdje je sahranjen.
Lukomir, an outpost perched over the gorge of the Rakitnica River, essentially means harbour of freedom. This is where the persecuted Bogomil found their refuge. The natural world has also made use of such remoteness. An abundant flora has developed here, with dozens of endemic species that only grow here. An absolute treasure trove for herbalist Omer Chomor. His search for particularly rare plants brings him to places few have ever ventured.
Ovo je bijeli vrijesak, a ovo je majčina dušica. Zajedno kad se napravi čaj od ove dvije biljke, to je antibiotik. Tamo gdje izgleda taj surov kraj, gdje se biljka bori za život, tamo je najljekovitija. Tako piše u knjigama. volim čitati knjige. I zaista ovo je kraj, kad naiđete mislite da nema ništa, a kad malo bolje pogledate onda ima svega.
This undisturbed countryside has been able to keep its secrets. It is still disputed whether the Stetsci, the name given to the Bogomil tombstones, may also harbour the remains of other religions. A greater mystery are the large stone spheres found in the forest. No one really knows how or where they've come from. They are one of the planet's most unique phenomena. To this day, 60 have been discovered, strewn across 11 locations in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The largest weighs almost 30 tons. The greatest mystery of all are the alleged 3 pyramids not far from Sarajevo. Said to be 30,000 years old and underneath the mountains. Or at least, this is what amateur archaeologist Semir Osmanagic claims. Tens of thousands of visitors flock here every year for the chance to experience the supposed mysterious energy in the excavated underground tunnel system. It's the high concentration of negative ions and oxygen in this subterranean world that supposedly has a positive effect on mind and body. Employees of this privately run archaeological park test the values regularly.
Kao i uvijek.
Da, sad ćemo ovdje kontrolno mjerenje da uradimo pa ćemo onda unutra.
Tu sam ti danas, pomažem ti sve.
Super, ekstra. Ovaj već pokazujem 300, 200, 200, 250.
As a control, Evelina Cehajic always measures the concentration of negative ions in front of the tunnel entrance. The search for proof of the pyramid hypothesis began in 2006. The uncovered tunnel system is allegedly part of the pyramid complex and entranceway to the largest one, the Sun Pyramid. So far, 3 kilometers of tunnel system have been excavated and various monoliths found. Particularly strong energy is attributed to these manually formed stones. Azra Oran is convinced that the tunnels were more than merely connecting pathways.
Mi možemo reći da podzemni labirint, a i sama piramida, ne služe, kao što su nas dosada konvencionalnom historijom učili, kao grobnice, kao neka svetišta u smislu nekog štovanja i slično, nego u suštini su energetske mašine, kako piramida, tako i ovaj labirint, koji su u potpunosti podređeni za optimizaciju sredine u kojoj boravimo, kako bi ona utjecala najbolje moguće na naše tijelo, da budemo psihički, fizički, mentalno, duhovno na svakom nivou zdravi.
It is the negative ions, which are found in very high concentrations in these tunnels, that have the greatest health-promoting effect. Evelina Cehajic measures the air quality twice a week at varying locations.
Negativni ion su čestice koje blagotvorno djeluju na nas jer nam iz zraka filtriraju prašinu, viruse, bakterije, sve ono što je loše. Evo vani, prije što smo ušli, izmjerena je neka koncentracija od 400 ili 500 negativnih iona u 1 kubnom centimetru. Ovdje u tunelu srednja vrijednost je bila 26.000.
300 meters away, a new tunnel is being uncovered. Archaeologist Amna Agic is in charge of the excavation. Her team is made up of a colleague and a dozen local and international volunteers. They're currently digging in a side tunnel.
Očekujemo svakako da ćemo pronaći možda, eventualno, jedan bočni prolaz ili prolaz, neko otvoreni prostor, pa vidjet ćemo dokle će nas svakako to dovesti sve.
"65 meters of tunnel were uncovered in the last 2 years, and archaeologists have found ceramic pieces, bronze objects, and animal bones.
Datirali smo ove ulomke na osnovu ovog jednog simbola na ovoj posudi. Riječ je o simbolu svastike. Svastika je inače jako star simbol i znamo da su mnoge civilizacije koristile ovaj simbol. Na prostoru Bosne i Hercegovine Slaveni su, bio prisutan recimo kod Slavena, dakle Slaveni su koristili ovaj simbol između 8. i 9. stoljeća naše ere.
Hvala.
Everything is carefully transported out of the tunnels and examined. Even the smallest fragment can be a vital clue, shedding light on why and how these underground tunnels were made.
Ovo gleda zanimljivo. Je li nešto?
Samo kamen.
Ne, dobro.
Nerijetko se desi da smo mi tokom prosijavanja ovog materijala pronalazili neku vrstu organskog materijala. I kada uklanjamo u stvari ovaj materijal, mi želimo i vidjeti da li tu ima nekih drugih slojeva. Evo, malo prije smo recimo vidjeli da u cijelom tom materijalu postoji jedan mali sloj gline. I onda je nama uvijek pitanje otkud glina, recimo u cijelom tom kontekstu.
The professional scientific community is more skeptical, but that doesn't bother those who flock here every year. It has become a place of encounters for all those who believe in positive energy, who want to experience love and unity rather than hate and division. Important for a country whose battle scars are far from healed. Even without pyramids, Bosnia and Herzegovina has an interesting history. A testament to this are the many fortresses and castles found throughout the country. Once part of the Roman Empire, it was settled by Illyrians and later by Slavs. In 1463, it became part of the Ottoman Empire. The 400 years of Ottoman rule not only characterizes the city's architecture, but also brought the Islamic faith to Bosnia and Herzegovina. The country has been a symbol for multiculturalism and tolerance ever since. Despite the last war, or perhaps because of it, people are proud of its cultural and religious diversity. The Catholic monasteries and churches, Orthodox temples, mosques and synagogues have always stood side by side. The coexistence of these four religions is a reality that has been lived for centuries. In Kraljeva Sudjeska, the residence of Bosnian kings in the 15th century, stands possibly the oldest mosque in the country. According to legend, it was built in just 3 days in 1463. On the other side of the bucolic town is the Franciscan monastery. It has served as the cultural and spiritual center of the region for the past 680 years. The memory of the last Bosnian queen, Catherine, is kept alive here. She was much loved thanks to her good deeds as queen. The guardians of the monastery, Shelko Burkic, and 2 fellow believers are the only residents. Alen Spahic became imam of this mosque 1 year ago. It is one of the oldest preserved buildings from the Ottoman period.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. Ova džamija je pod zaštitom državi, nacionalni je spomenik. Održavaju vjernici muslimani, ali svakako i naše komšije. Kako god katolici, pravoslavci i ostali pomažu i ovu i druge vjerske objekte, isto tako i muslimani svojih područja pomažu. Bilo da je u pitanju ograđivanje groblja, nebitno čije, izgradnja crkve, kapele i tako dalje. Ako je nekome potrebna kuća pomoć u privatnom smislu, pomogne se, ne pita se niko je, ni šta je, samo je u pitanju da je čestit, pošten čovjek i to je na prvom mjestu.
The 2 spiritual leaders meet regularly to discuss matters concerning their village and community.
Tolerancija je kad nekog trpiš. Mi ovdje nije tolerancija, ovdje je suživot. Ovdje niko ne toleriše, jer ja volim kad čujem ono zvon. A ljudi meni kažu, veli, neobično kad se ne čuje ezan. Mi smo naviknuti na to, generacijama se živjelo, idemo na kraj krajeva, ovo je rudarski kraj. Ti ljudi kad siđu u podzemlju, oni su braća.
Naravski, niko te ne pita što kažem i jesi ono ime i prezime. Upravo u tome se i treba pokazati to nekako sloga i to nekako zajedništvo što se tiče toga. Tako. Ti si u pravu da treba svakako ne dopustiti da oni negativni, a ima ih, nažalost, na svakoj, što kaže, među svima nama ima takvih ljudi i zapravo trebamo i mi svakako učiniti sa svoje strane što možemo da tim pojedincima se ne da previše, što kaže, i prostora, previše maha i onda se stvori jednostavno onda bez potrebe možda nekakav i problem.
Problem tamo gdje ne postoji.
Ja imam ovdje recimo mogu stalno nešto raditi.
Brother Shelko and Imam Alen Salkic preach and live the true spirit of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Towards the northernmost part of the country, the landscape flattens. Millions of years ago, the Pannonian Sea was here and left behind a very fertile plain. The region around the city of Gradačac consists mainly of orchards, apples, pears, and especially plums. These plums are considered the best in the country. This is the last harvest of the year on Djevad Čolić's plantation. 25 men and women will work late into the evening, picking around 15 tons from the trees. Djevad Čolić has had hanging crates, ladders, and tables especially built to make the work a little easier. For him, a mechanical fruit harvester is out of the question.
Beremo ručno, to je tradicionalno, znači da bi išla u konzum, u trgovinu za dalju prodaju, znači moramo je brati ručno, bilo koja mašinska proizvodnja napravi štetu na plodovima, tako da ti plodovi brže trunu. Mi smo prije koristili ove stare ljestve, naslanjali smo na stabla, teško je bilo na tome stajati, međutim ovo je dosta lakše, znači cijelu šljivu skoro oberemo sa tih ljestava, ne moramo se penjati na stabla.
Djevad Čolić's plantation can yield up to 300 tons of fruit a year. They are almost exclusively exported to Western Europe. The plums from Gradačac are in high demand due to their quality and great taste. The peak of the country's highest mountain reaches 2,386 meters. The Maglic, the Misty Mountain, is a rugged massif in the Sūtiesκα National Park, in the east on the border to Montenegro. A little less rough, but no less impressive, is Mount Zelingora, the Green Mountain. Its undulating meadows and pastures, as well as its glacial lakes, make it a hugely popular attraction. The 8 glacial lakes are also known as the 8 Eyes of the Zelingora. Nedim Jukic and his colleagues are keen amateur mycologists. They're exploring the world of fungi for an ecological project. In the last 18 months, they have been to 18 lakes and documented over 120 different species of mushroom, some of which have never been discovered before. The fungi they are really interested in aren't those we can eat or those which are poisonous, but the ones which enable these lakes to exist.
Bez gljiva, dakle, ne bi bilo razlaganja odumrlih ostataka biljaka, posebno u ovom slučaju barske vegetacije, i dakle, taj odumrli materijal bi se taložio, dok ne bi sve zaraslo, dakle, i kompletan ekosistem bi odumrao.
Rare and endangered species thrive in such remote and isolated habitats with rough weather conditions. Nedim and his colleagues want to collect and identify as many as possible. The hope is that their findings will lead to the establishment of a sustainable program that protects these sensitive ecosystems and the delicate mushrooms that allow it to exist.
U pitanju je jedan od izvora napajanja Štirinskog jezera koje se nalazi iza nas i njega naseljavaju, dakle, semiakvatične i doakvatične vrste gljiva koje su direktno vezane, dakle, za konstantne vodotokove i za mjesta na kojima je prisutna tokom cijele godine vlaga. Jedino u takvim uslovima ove vrste uspijevaju, dakle, odoliti vremenskim uslovima. Ono što je još karakteristično za ovakva staništa je da su izrazito ugroženi. Generalno izvori slabe iz godine u godinu i manja je mogućnost opstanka za određene gljive koje su direktno vezane uz vodu. Mihade, dođi vamo da vidiš nešto. 2-3 centimetra. Šta bi to mogla biti, čovječe? Crna. Opasna.
The mushrooms can only be formally identified under a microscope. Before the samples are taken to the laboratory for a detailed analysis, each one is photographed and documented.
Bosni i Hercegovini generalno svijet gljiva je neistražen, a kamoli na ovim staništima. A druga vrijednost je zapravo što istražujemo staništa koja će dogledno neka u skorije vrijeme nestati. Samim tim bilježimo nešto čega u budućnosti neće biti.
Bosnia and Herzegovina's north is sparsely populated, allowing its natural splendor to unfold. Like these rare rock formations. Bizarre sandstone peaks. and mysterious moonscapes. Bosnia and Herzegovina yields an astounding and unique array of natural phenomena. Its greatest jewels are its rivers, wild and every one unique. The Una National Park is a refuge for water-loving animals. It lies in the west along the border to Croatia. 3 rivers flow across the enormous nature reserve that is named after the Una River. "33 of the animals are protected: the wolf, brown bear, lynx, as well as the badger, otter, and stoat. Under the strictest protection is the River Una itself. With its plentiful waterfalls and cascades, its emerald green and drinking water purity, this natural landscape is of great ecological value." Marija Relic lives in Martin Brod. A tributary of the Una flows through her back garden. Marija doesn't just use the water for her vegetable garden, but also to wash her carpets and blankets in a historical, natural washing machine. "250 years ago, the ancestors of Maria's husband built this washing machine. The ingenious contraption uses a lever mechanism to control the amount and thus also the gradual force of the water inflow. The rest takes care of itself."
Možemo slobodno znači reći da je to preteča ove savremene veš mašine. Tu vam se peru sve te krupne stvari, znači bez deterđenta, bez bilo kakve vrste hemije. Znači, sve vam odradi velika količina vode, jak pritisak vode i velika količina kisika, znači koji se stvara prilikom dotoka te vode.
Marija's husband also makes use of the garden river in his mill.
Jeste završila?
Jesam.
Trebam ja mljet. Ajde, završi to, izvadi da ja idem umlit. Moram ja umlit.
The washing machine and the mill use the same water current and lever mechanism. It controls the flow of water, either to the washing machine or the mill wheel. There were once 65 mills in the village of Martin Brod and 15 washing machines. The Relic family run the last 2 still in use. Marija Relic knows to value the riches the river has to offer.
Malo gdje u svijetu možete naći, znači da imate pitku vodu pred kućom, da je ne plaćate, da imate još uvijek u izobilju. A da bi tako i ostalo, znači, definitivno se moramo potruditi da sačuvamo ovo prirodno bogatstvo koje imamo. I da učimo, znači, generacije iza nas koje dolaze, isto kao što i stariji ovdje uče nas, mlade kako se čuva Una i kako se čuva čista voda.
The Štrebački Buk cascades down 25 meters and is the Una's highest and most spectacular waterfall. It was formed by tectonic shifts and calcareous deposits. For those who dare, one can drop down the waterfall in an inflatable dinghy, although the biggest drop is only for the guides. Even the smaller cascades and rapids require courage and skill.
All right. Okay, sit.
An unforgettable experience of wilderness and freedom in one of Europe's last unspoiled landscapes.